set 2, I don't even know her. So, that was a terrible joke. I'm sorry. It wasn't even a joke. It was let's just worry about the game. This is gonna be a TVT FanTaSy versus really on Fighting Spirit, who really is Seiya in this game. FanTaSy, it looks like. Nope, I'm wrong. That's really right there in the teal in the bottom left. And then FanTaSy is gonna be red up here in the top right. So I was sort of knocking on really last time I saw him play, and then he destroyed Flash, and that was sort of embarrassing. So I've been reading a little bit about him on Team Liquid, and apparently he's a super well-respected practice partner with good macro, and then he just sucks at game situations and sucks at responding to funny builds and stuff, and so therefore loses on TV, but is actually supposed to be one of the best Terrans, at least if from the Koreans' eyes. I don't know how true that is. I think a lot of those stories like that, you know, winning is what matters. It doesn't matter who says you're good. People say Hyuk's the monster in practice too, but obviously we know how Hyuk's play turns out. So we'll see if really can take down FanTaSy. I think he definitely has a chance. On the other hand, FanTaSy I think is Terran. He's not Flash. He's very likely to do something weird that probably isn't all that great, but still could catch really off surprise. And he is doing a center 11 racks, look like. So that'll get his scouting over there, cross positions much faster than Really's floating buildings will. But other than that, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference in TVT. I don't have anything to say about TVT matchups. Mirror matchups, there's not as much to analyze because it's all the same for everybody. And I mean, Fighting Spirit, it's a fairly standard map. Commentators are noting no gas yet for FanTaSy, which, that definitely means something interesting is going to happen. No gas. Okay, there it is. It's just a later gas, I guess. I guess it's later because he had the center racks. But it won't make much difference. This SCV is going to be able to get in here and be annoying. Maybe take down the scouting SCV. Might have to rely on the second one for that, but and FanTaSy's gonna go for a hidden command center before factory, and he's blocking his ramp with a Marine and a SCV to make sure really can't get the scout in there, and really is running directly towards FanTaSy's little hidden base, but I doubt he's gonna go all the way down there. There's no real reason for him to do. He's probably just gonna try to get around and So this is a cute little strategy. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Flash wouldn't be doing this sort of strategy. FanTaSy is, and half the time he'll lose epically, and half the time he'll win epically. We'll see which one of those times this turns out to be. I don't think there's any real reason for really to go looking in that corner. He's doing a one vaulter into expand. And he'll probably start making tanks after that machine shop gets up. Get some idle SCVs there. Come on, man. It's an early game. Nothing for you to be doing. But I think we'll see if really has the presence of mind to send his early vultures out around the map. It looks like he sent his first vulture to FanTaSy's front, which we're not getting to see because they're selecting these Marines instead of showing us that. And it's microing against the things blocking FanTaSy's front, but it has to fall back. I don't know what was happening up there. And we're not going to ever get a no because they didn't feel like showing it to us. So it looks like despite FanTaSy's earlier or slightly closer racks positioning, is not actually going to get to Really's base any faster because he's producing Marines for longer. to hide his secret little hidden expansion there. And really is going one fact port here, going to do some drops, it looks like, or perhaps make a Wraith or two. We'll see which one he opts for. Both are viable things to be doing in TVT. Wraiths, well, both of those would be great in this position too, because FanTaSy's got two really far apart bases. Did he trap an SCV behind that factory? What if it was his? Probably. So FanTaSy is having an academy going down. He'll probably be putting down an armory momentarily here, so Wraiths won't be hurting him much if that's what really chooses to produce. We'll see if he does go for the drop ship instead, which is, I think, more likely anyway. FanTaSy thinks he's going to come out and be aggressive with these vultures, but there's not really a lot they can do at this point. Really, he's doing a great job of screwing up his choke with. He's got vultures in his SCV line. He's got a nice little line of tanks right there, and yeah, FanTaSy's vultures are like, no, we're going to run by. No, you're not. You're not going anywhere. So we are going to see at least two Wraiths, it looks like, probably, from Relay. FanTaSy doesn't really have anything that can shoot up yet. He's got a couple Marines running around right there, but other than that, there's not too much going on. You notice FanTaSy uses Marines to scare away that scouting barracks, so he really doesn't get suspicious about the lack of units and the lack of expansion from FanTaSy. Well, I bet he's pretty suspicious anyway, although we don't see a scan going down or anything, and he's keeping those Wraiths at home, I think, to be sneaky. But instead, if they were scouting around the map, they would be seeing this hidden, I don't know what you would call it, second base, third base of FanTaSy's. So this is going to be pretty bad if really doesn't get something done with these vultures, or get something done with these Wraiths, because FanTaSy is going to be on 3 bases pretty soon, and he's going to have had way more factories than really. So Wraiths are trying to micro against those 3 Marines, which they can do given time, and FanTaSy is gonna get up his armory momentarily. Oh man, cloak going down on those Wraiths, so they do not get killed by that last Marine. And the armory is not quite done yet, so this was a little bit delayed, and now FanTaSy is losing SCVs, but it's not really changing the complete time of this too much. Yeah, and it really just gives up. So really, he is getting a decent number of SCV kills. They're not going to click on the Wraiths, so we can see how many, but it's been like 5 or 6 probably. 2 Wraiths do kill SCVs reasonably fast. It's not like one Wraith trying to kill an SCV and it just takes the entire game and you get like 2 SCV kills. Your opponent doesn't even bother to produce Goliath because it doesn't matter. The damage is inconsequential. I'm interested to see that FanTaSy is not trying to repair his SCVs. He's just letting them die. I guess 2 Wraiths just do damage fast enough to stop that. So now the Goliaths are out, and FanTaSy's economy is safe from destruction. See, this didn't hurt FanTaSy nearly as bad as it seemed to, though, because again, he's got 3 command centers, so he can produce SCVs 1/3 faster? 50% faster. That's my final answer. 50% faster than really. I hate relative percentages like that, and so X amount faster, X times the numbers are never correct. No, I don't care which ones they're deemed correct. It's just a pain. How about SCV production is 3-2? Let's go with that. So FanTaSy's trying to delay really taking his logical third and not really getting too much done there. Just losing some vultures, and he did have to misplace the command center slightly, but that doesn't mean anything. He'll move it back momentarily. And FanTaSy's got 4 factories coming down. I think that's the same amount Really has. Really's got his 5th coming down, so Really is gonna push here. He's just now getting down his armory. He hasn't had to make an early one like FanTaSy has. Let's see if FanTaSy uses that to go for